Betty's Truth Lighthouse is April 13, 2014. We have made it to the Passover. The Lord finally spoke this morning about the blood on the heart and what He is about to do. So I thought the best way to do this, because I know I can't get this into a 10-minute video, I'm going to probably put it into 2 different videos. So let me first read the Passover in Exodus chapter 12, and I'm going to read the whole chapter so you can have fullness of what the Passover is. And then I'm going to read Matthew 22, which is the Lord's wedding supper. And then I'm going to read what the Lord said. So we'll watch the time, and as we go along, I'll stop the video and go to the next part. Okay, so here we are at the Passover. I'm just going to read it. And here we go. 12:1 of Exodus. And the Lord said to Moses and Aaron in Egypt, "This is the month is to be for you the first month of your year. Tell the whole community of Israel that on the 10th day of this month each man is to take a lamb for his family, one for each household. If any household is too small for the whole lamb, they must share one with the nearest neighbor, having taken into account the number of people there are. You are to determine the amount of lamb needed in accordance with what each person will eat. The animal you choose must be a year-old male without defect, and you may take them from the sheep and the goats. Take care of them until the 14th day of the month, when all the people of the community of Israel must slaughter them at twilight. Then they are to take some of the blood and put it on the sides and tops of the door frames of the houses where they eat the lambs. That same night they are to eat the meat roasted over the fires among with some bitter herbs and bread made without yeast. Do not eat the meat raw or cooked in the water, but roast it over the fire. Head and legs and inner parts. Do not leave any of it till morning. If some of it is left till morning, you must burn it. This is how you are to eat it, with your cloak tucked into your belt, your sandals on your feet, and your staff in your hand. Eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover. On the same night I will pass through Egypt and strike down every firstborn, both men and animals, and I will bring judgment on all gods of Egypt. I am the Lord. The blood will be a sign for you on the houses where you are, and when I see the blood, I will pass over you. No destructive plague will touch you when I strike Egypt. This is the day you are to commemorate for the generations to come. You shall celebrate it a festival to the Lord, a lasting ordinance. For 7 days you are to eat bread made without yeast. On the first day over the yeast from your house, whoever eats anything with yeast in it from the first day through the 7th must be cut off from Israel. On the first day hold a sacred assembly, and another one on the 7th day. Do not work at all on these days except to prepare food for everyone to eat. That is all you may do. Celebrate the feast of the unleavened bread, because it was on this day that I brought your divisions out of Egypt, celebrating the day as a lasting ordinance for the generations to come. In the first day you are to eat the bread made without yeast, and from the evening to the 14th day until the evening of the 21st day. For 7 days no yeast is to be found in your house, and whoever eats anything with yeast in it must be cut off from the community of Israel, whether he is an alien or a native born. Eat nothing made with yeast. Wherever you live, you must eat unleavened bread. When Moses summoned all the elders of Israel and said to them, "Go once and select the animal for your families and slaughter the Passover lamb, and take bunches of hospice, dipping it in the blood in the basin, and putting putting some blood on the top and the sides of the doorframe. Not one of you shall go out of the door of his house until morning. And when the Lord goes through the land to strike down the Egyptians, he will see the blood on the tops and the sides of the door frames, and will pass over that doorway. He will not permit the destroyer to enter your houses and strike you down. Obey these instructions as a lasting ordinance for you and your descendants, and when you enter the land that the Lord has given you, the Lord will give you as he promised. Observe the ceremonies, and when your children ask you, what does this ceremony mean to you? Then you will tell them, it is the Passover, the sacrifice to the Lord, who passed over the houses of the Israelites in Egypt and spared our homes when he struck down the Egyptians, and when the people bowed down and worshipped. And Israelites did just what the Lord commanded Moses and Aaron, and at midnight the Lord struck down all the firstborn of Egypt, from the first of Pharaoh who sat on the throne to the firstborn of the prisoner who was in the dungeon, and the firstborn of all the livestock as well. And Pharaoh said to all his officials, and all the Egyptians got up during the night, and there was a loud wailing in the Egyptians, and there was not a house without someone dead. And I am going to stop at 30. This is going to be a very hard word to give to everybody, because I've already feeling myself tearing up in my heart. But this must be said because the Lord has proclaimed it. I had promised you guys that this was the day we were looking at, the Passover, that God is going to destroy the land, and only those that have the blood on their hearts are going to be safe in God's hands. This was the warning I gave you. We have to be in our righteous gowns. I've been saying for months, prepare, prepare, prepare. And now we've made it to the day of the death passing by. I don't know what this means. I'm just saying this is what the Lord is speaking. So I'm going to stop. We're at 7 minutes. I'm going to come back on Matthew 22. I'm going to read the wedding supper and then what the Lord says, and then we'll see what happens after that. But I just needed to get you thinking about the Passover. You know, the yeast in the bread is sin. You shouldn't be sinning. That was the Lord's point. Don't be sinning. Don't sin. Don't sin. I even told you guys, I would think it was like the 3rd, I had said, okay, now you really need to be praying now. You've got 10 days before the Passover. You should be obedient for 10 days. You see what I'm saying? The yeast. You shouldn't have had yeast in your bread for the last 10 days. You shouldn't have been sinning against God. Do you understand what I'm trying to say to you? Righteousness is not righteousness of man, but righteousness of Yahweh. Okay, I'm going to let you guys go, and I'll be right back. Okay, bye.